Okay, so a quick break from the sports content for a little bit. Let's have a quick look at some more random channel facts and stats because occasionally I dive into the analytics section. I look at how the channel's performing and, you know, growth of the audience, where people are viewing from, and some really interesting stats just keep jumping out at me every time I do one of these regular, channel stat videos. So let's have a look at things. I've just picked some random ones out, and some of these are really interesting. Really interesting. So, percentage of all total views, all time. Canada makes up 0.9% of all channel views. The city of Sydney in Australia makes up 2.7% of all channel views. So I find that really interesting that more people in the city of around 5.1, 5.2 million people in the city of Sydney, or thereabouts, make up more of the channel views as a percentage than a country of 38 million people in Canada. I find that really interesting. And it's not as if I haven't made NHL content. I've even made some CFL content. So I find that one really interesting, that more Australians from the city of Sydney are watching than people in an entire country in Canada with a bigger population. I find that one really interesting. It sticks out at me, and it just surprises me. It does surprise me. Now, views from the top 5 US states, because I've got a lot of viewers from the US, and as a percentage of all views from the US, Hawaii comes in at 5th with 1%, Texas comes in at 4th with just a few views more, but the same percentage at 1%. Florida then comes in at 1.1%, Utah at 1.4%, which is a bit of a surprise. California doesn't surprise me, it's the top state, and it doesn't surprise me it's got the big percentages of views at 7.6%. But what is very interesting is Texas and Florida are not that far behind in population in regards to how the US is broken down population-wise. And yet California is so far ahead of everyone else. New York doesn't even turn up as a state or as a city in the top 10 cities or as a state. Massachusetts and Boston is a very heavily urbanised state. New Jersey's a very heavily urbanised state. Both the Carolinas have big population sizes, and sports mad, they don't turn up. That high up the list, yet Hawaii makes the top 5. I've never understood why Hawaii has been in the top 5 for US states for viewership, and this top 5 US states hasn't changed much since 2017. It really hasn't. I'm also surprised Utah is as high as it is, and what is also surprising, the Salt Lake City metro has about a similar population to the entire state of Hawaii. So that's a real surprising one. How the viewership of the US is very California centric, and how California is so far ahead of all the other US states. It's a weird one, considering that they're 8 hours behind the UK in time zone, which surprises me. The age of viewers is also very surprising as percentage of age demographic. So the 13 to 17 year olds, the spotty teenagers, make up 0.5% of all channel viewers. That age demographic has always been the lowest. Always has been the lowest. The 18 to 24 age demographic, 19.7%. That used to be higher as a percentage. The 25 to 34 age demographic is 41.8% of all channel viewers are in their mid-20s to mid-30s. The 35 to 44 age demographic, my age demographic, is 12.9%. The 45 to 54 age demographic is 10.1%. The 55 to 64 age demographic is 8.4%. And the 65 and older age demographic, so retirees, 6.6% of all channel viewers are aged over the age of 65. What is also interesting is if you add the 45 to 54 age demographic, 55 to 64 age demographic, and the 65 and over age demographic, you get more viewers aged 45 and older than 24 and younger. I find that very interesting. And the younger population tend to consume their sports media differently. They're less likely to watch TV, more likely to watch online, more likely to find their sports content on social media. The older age demographic are more likely to watch the news, watch the sport live on TV, and read newspapers. Whereas the younger age demographic more likely to use websites like The Athletic, for example, to get their sports news fix. So that's also a very interesting one. I would have expected that to be a little bit more even in some age demographics. I'm not surprised with the numbers of people watching between the ages of 18 and 44. I'm not, but I'm surprised how uneven the demographics are. I'm also surprised by younger teenagers, those spotty teenagers. Are they really interested in sport as they used to be? Because those numbers are a lot lower than I expected for the lifetime of the channel. And they've always been low. And I've done videos going, are younger people turning off sport? And we could argue with a lot of sport going behind a paywall on subscription services. That could be part of the reason. It could be part of the reason. And some sports have struggled with viewership when they put a paywall in place. It does get expensive. And the lifetime of the channel, the economy hasn't done great, and people have less disposable income now than they did 20 or so years ago. So there's some interesting ones there. And older people tend to have more disposable income as well, so they can afford to pay for the subscription TV service. They can afford to go to live sporting events, whereas younger people, it's a bit more difficult to go as regularly as they would like. How people find my content, or how they're recommending my content. 14.2% of viewers get recommended content in the suggested videos. 3.6% have actually searched my content online by looking for the sports topic we're talking about, or the sports event we're talking about. So 3.6% of viewers have found the channel by going on Google and just typing in FA Cup 5th round, for example. 14.2% of viewers are already on YouTube. They're watching a video, maybe on another channel, maybe this channel, and they're suggested more of my content, and they click on it. 6.5% of viewers are female all time, although I have noticed during major international sporting events like the Olympics, Football World Cup, Rugby League World Cup, female viewership will significantly go up. So a lot of female sports fans are more casual. In regards to the major international sporting events, they will watch in large groups with men and women and their families. But there's a clear, dedicated percentage of viewers who are hardcore female sports fans. It's also very rare to find female sports YouTubers as well. They are in a significant minority. And when you do find them, they're probably more brutal and brutally honest about how their team is playing or the sport they're watching than some of the male ones. They really don't hold back. But they are in a minority, but I think there's actually more of them out there than the figures actually suggest, because a lot of women hide their identity online, especially on YouTube and Twitter and things like that, in regards to sports fandom, and pretend they're men. It's the same in the gaming world as well. You'll see a lot of gamer tags that have a very male-sounding name that are actually female gamers, and that's to avoid a lot of the harassment they get online. So I wouldn't be surprised if that actual percentage is higher. Now, the sharing services, so the other social media platforms people share my content on, is very interesting all time. Twitter, now known as X, 42.3% of video shares have been shared to that platform. Facebook is 36.4%, and WhatsApp I just picked out at 5.4%. Now, the Twitter share percentage, if I was to do this for the last year, would be negligible, would hardly register a couple of percent. Facebook has declined in people sharing on the platform, but people still share on Facebook. WhatsApp has slowly actually been climbing as a percentage of video shares. So if I was to do a snapshot of the last month, the last 90 days, the last 3 months, for example, or the last year, Twitter would not actually get a lot of percentage. But this is on the lifetime of the channel. And it's very noticeable when Elon Musk says he's interested in buying Twitter, pulls out, and then actually buys Twitter and renames it X. It's very noticeable. A lot of viewers stopped using that platform. A lot of younger viewers stopped using that platform. There was a noticeable shift away from Twitter, now known as X, and Facebook shares have also declined as well in recent years, although viewers still share on Facebook. The watch time is very, very interesting. So subscribers make up 38.7% of all channel watch time. Non-subscribers make up 61.3% of all channel watch time. The average view duration, however, is very, very striking. The average view duration for a subscriber is 6 minutes and a second. The average view duration for a non-subscriber is 2 minutes and 6 seconds. So that one's quite interesting. So if someone likes my content, they'll subscribe and they'll stick around. If someone's casually scrolling through, they might watch a little bit and go, not interested, and they move on. So there's some interesting random channel stats. I still find the Canada-Sydney comparison mad, how 0.9% of all channel viewers are from Canada, yet there's more viewers in Sydney, Australia. The US states, Hawaii still being in the top 5 really raises an eyebrow. The fact Utah's in there raises a bit of an eyebrow, and some more populated states don't get in there. I find that one really, really interesting as well. And the fact that California has so many more views than any other US state is quite stunning, making up nearly 8% of all channel views in the US are from California. That's mad to me. The fact that I've got more viewers over the age of 45 than under the age of 24, I find that a bit surprising. And how 14.2% of my viewers have been suggested the content. It's showing the algorithm working. So that's obviously something good, I suppose. And I've had some eyebrows raised about how the algorithm works. And there we go. So I thought I'd just have a quick look at some random channel stats. There's some other channel stats I could have thrown in there, but this video would become too long. We've already gone over 10 minutes. And I try and keep most of my videos or 10 minutes or under or thereabouts. Longer videos do happen occasionally, especially when I'm doing, let's say, a preview of, let's say, the 5th round of the FA Cup video we've just recently done. Maybe a career video on a player, which I've done a few of, a club history, football club history. Most of them are under 10 minutes, however, because I call them a brief club history video, looking at their successes, their failures, their highest league finishing positions. Some of them are longer, but for the most part, apart from match reviews, match previews, and things of that nature, most of my content is 10 minutes or less. This one's taken a little bit longer because there's a lot of stats to delve into and talk about. So there we go. This one is for the analytical stats nerds, because a lot of sports fans also like their analytics and their stats. And I do know that a fair few of my viewers and subscribers are math majors in university. They've studied mathematics, they've studied analytics, they've got degrees in this stuff, and the sports analytics especially. So I do know that there are those who are very, very interested in numbers, percentages, and they're very, very good at it. I'm actually not that good at maths. I just decided to keep things as simple as possible with this one. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was a nice little break from all the sports content, because I know that can get a bit much. So I appreciate that. And I'll have some more sports content for you guys very, very soon.